Let's talk about the Phillies starting rotation. Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phillies Sets of Videocast. Today we're going to be talking about the Phillies starting rotation heading into the 2021 season and how I think it's all going to pan out. Now, guys, before we get in this video, please subscribe yet, not yet. Please turn the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. And let's get into this. So we have a lot to talk about in this one. Talk about the Phillies starting rotation and how I think they've addressed it this offseason. I also want to talk about how I think it's all going to pan out in 2021. So back in 2020, we had a lot of problems with our starting rotation. I mean, mostly with the bullpen. When you look at the pitching staff, we had a lot of problems with the bullpen. Of course, to the second worst in games history. But the starting rotation was not great either, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we have two horses at the top with Nolan and Zac Wheeler. Back to the 1-2 punch I always talk about. I mean, that is huge to have those two guys, leading your rotation like that. I mean, those are two aces, two horses at the top of rotation. I love that. I really feel comfortable going into the season with those two guys. I think with Aaron Nolan, let's start off with him. I mean, I think with you saw him back in 2020. The September collapses do concern me a little bit. I mean, in a 60-game shortened season, in September he fell apart. Once again, he fell apart, and I think that in years prior with 2018 and 2019, there are concerns of him collapsing in September, and he did collapse in September in those 2 years. But I think the reason why is because we had no one else to help balance out the rotation. We had no one else in that rotation to kind of take some pressure off of Aaron Nola. But now we added that in 2020 with Zac Wheeler. And that seemed to help Aaron a little bit. But it seemed like, when we got to the September months once again, let's keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is a 60-game shortened season last season. And even when we did get to September, he collapsed once again. I think part of this is coincidental. I think sometimes, of course, every player, no matter what position you are, whether you're a pitcher or a position player, you're going to run into a cold stretch. You're going to run into a slump. And it just so happened that Aaron Nola ran into a slump in September 2020. It just coincidentally happened. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I find it hard to believe that he'd be gassed. One thing about it. I mean, we started play July 24th, and we ended play the end of September. So it's not like we started play at the beginning of April. I mean, so that it was a very, very quick and shortened season. So I think that's what happened. I think he just ran into some trouble. Also, Aaron Nola is not great in a big game. He's just not. He's not the best in a big game. Of course, he's never pitched in a playoff game before. But with Zac Wheeler, he was unbelievable in 2020. There were a little bit concerns, him coming over from the New York Mets. I thought that, maybe that contract wasn't going to work out too well when we first signed Zac Wheeler. I was not a big fan of the Zac Wheeler signing. I regret saying that. We signed it at 5-year contract. I think he really, really did well last season. In 2019 with the Mets, though, he didn't have the best numbers. He just didn't. But last year, he seemed to be getting the job done. I mean, Zac Wheeler is the kind of guy, it's a pitch to contact out type of guy. He's going to, generate a lot of, he generated a lot of hard contact. He just did. I mean, a lot of these, a lot of the, hits he was giving up were hard hit balls. He generated a lot of solid contact, but he's more of a pitch to contact out type of guy. He just is. And, what he did for the Phillies last season was unbelievable. Once again, a few bad starts that he had, we did not give him run support. We just did not give him run support. So, Zac Wheeler overall was very, very good last season with the Phillies. But I think, Jack Fritz was on here, so he said that he's excited to see what Zac Wheeler is going to do in a 162-game span, because that was just a 60-game Zac Wheeler. Look how good he was. So, it's going to be interesting to see, because he really didn't have one horrendous start in 2020. He didn't have one start. It's wow, that was absolutely terrible. I mean, yeah, he had some off starts, but it wasn't that one bad start where he's wow, that is really, really seriously awful. He didn't even have one of those. So he was going undefeated for a little while there. So Zac Wheeler was very, very good for the Phillies in 2020. I think that this year I'm hoping that maybe he could start generating some more strikeouts. That's one thing I'm hoping for. If we continue to build off what he did in 2020, I think he will. But once again, I think having Zac Wheeler in this rotation, another horse, I think it's really going to be continuing to take some pressure off of Aaron Nola at the top. It's really going to be taking some pressure off of Aaron Nola, which is huge because Aaron Nola is the ace. He needs some pressure to be taken off of him. He can't do it all by himself. In 2018, 2019, all the pressure was on Aaron Nola. We can't have that. We just can't have that. We got to just we got to have some more guys in there to take the load off of Aaron Nola. I mean, we have to. And then once again, it makes him more comfortable. Every fifth day, Aaron Nola was going out there for those 2 years in 2018, 2019. It's like Nola Day. Remember, they made such a big deal about Nola Day because We had literally no one else in this rotation solidified this rotation. We had like nobody else who really could get the job done consistently, right? Aaron Nola was our only guy to get the job done consistently. You can't always count on that, just that one guy to get the job done for you consistently. You just can't. And we put all that pressure on Aaron Nola. It's not fair that we put all that pressure on Aaron Nola. It's just not. It's not fair that we do that. So once again, I'm hoping that that trend continues into 2020. I mean, 2021. I honestly think that 2020. Aaron Nola still wasn't that bad. I mean, as we got closer to the end of the season, he's tend to, get, as I said, went in a little bit of a cold streak. He kind of entered a little bit of a slump. But Zac Eflin was consistently good all season, last season. So hopefully we could see more of that in 2021. I think that's what it's been going wrong for the Phillies the past couple of years. That they haven't, prior to us getting Zac Eflin, but prior to the 2020 season. Aaron Nola was, he had a lot of pressure on him. So it's going to be interesting over a 162 game span, ladies and gentlemen, of having Zac Eflin in that rotation. It's going to be interesting to, this upcoming September where Aaron Nola is going to be. I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see where Aaron Nola is going to be. Zac Eflin, the number 3 guy in this rotation. I love Zac Eflin. I really, really do. I mean, his inconsistencies do concern me a little bit. I will be honest with you. He is a bit of an inconsistent player. He just is. He always has been. I mean, you look back at 2019, through some complete games, but he sprinkled some really, really horrible starts during that time. I mean, remember that July game against the Braves in 2019? Remember that where we were the 1979 all maroon jersey, the throwback Saturday Night Special. Remember how horrible he pitched in that game? That July of 2019, Zac Eflin was one of the worst. That was one of the worst I think I've ever seen. That was really, really bad. And that's what concerns me a little bit. I think what he showed us in 2020 is he was actually pretty consistent. He just was. He was actually pretty consistent in 2020. And I think what he showed us in 2020 is that, hey, I think he deserves a spot in, third man starting the rotation. And I think that, once again, he had a good year. He had a 3.97 ERA, 59 innings pitched, 70 strikeouts, a 1.27 whip. I mean, once again, he did not have a bad year at all. A 4-2 record. I think he deserves number 3 spot in this rotation. I think that he is probably our third best pitcher. As of right now, it's going to be interesting to see where the development of Spencer Howard takes us. But as of right now, Zac Eflin is the third best starting pitcher on this team. He just is. It's facts. Once again, he had a very, very good 2020 season. It wasn't like it was outstanding. It wasn't like he was considered for a Cy Young or anything like that. But he was decent. He was decent. I like Zac Eflin. I mean, once again, if he could be a consistent Zac Eflin, is a good Zac Eflin. Zac Eflin is very black and white. He's not gray. There's not a lot of gray with Zac Eflin. There's just not. There's not a lot of gray with Zac Eflin. He's either great or he's not. He's just not. So if we can get a consistent Zac Eflin, I'm not saying that every story is going to go out there. Of course, not every story is going to go out there, and be great. He's just not. That's just not how baseball works. That's not how life works. You're not always going to have a great day. But I'm hoping you could just be a little bit more consistent. As I said, another point to what Jack Fritz said about Zac Eflin. He said it's going to be interesting to see what Zac Eflin does over a 162 game span. And I totally agree with that. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does over a 162 game span. So he's going to be out there, every 5th day, number 3 in the rotation, maybe every 5th or 6th day. It's yet to be determined whether we're going to have a 6th rotation or not. But every 5th day, as of right now, every 5th day, in that number 3 spot in that rotation. So hopefully we can get a good amount of innings out of it. And that's another problem that the Phillies faced in 2020 with their starting rotation. Everyone wants to bring up how bad the bullpen was, and yes, the bullpen was atrocious. It's historically bad. Yes, I totally agree. But part of the problem with our bullpen flowed to our starting rotation. Now let me just explain. We had guys like, Vince Velasquez in there. I mean, for a little while, Vince Velasquez in there. I mean, they were not eating a lot of innings. Those type of guys is that, even when Spencer Howard got a few starts, not eating a lot of innings. And what does that do? And that makes the bullpen come in early. So we overwork our bullpen more and more and more. So part of the starting, they all work. They all connect. If you have a good starting rotation, it's going to eat you innings and get you a lot of innings. You're not going to have to use your bullpen as much, and that's going to rest them up, and they're going to be more fresh and more sharp. It all flows together. It's like a little cycle. I mean, it all flows together. If you have a good starting rotation that's going to eat innings for you, it's going to be easier on your bullpen. Therefore, your bullpen will be better. So it all goes together. It all goes together. And that is a problem that the Phillies faced in 2020 because part of number one, the bullpen was just not good. Let's just face it, the bullpen was just not good. It just wasn't. It just wasn't there. We didn't have the pieces, to really, compete, legitimately complete. I mean, we just didn't. We just didn't have the pieces to compete. We just didn't because honestly, it was just historically bad. It just was historically bad. But that's part of the reason why we struggled so much with the bullpen. I mean, number one, it wasn't a good bullpen to begin with, but especially you have guys like Vinny V going out there pitching 4 to 5 innings, every start. And it just puts such a load on this bullpen. The bullpen's already bad to start off with. I mean, the bullpen's not good already. And down on top of that, they're getting overworked. So, I mean, not a good bullpen, and then also it's getting overworked. So it just was a recipe for bad luck. It just was. It was a recipe for bad luck. So, Zac Eflin, I'm really, really excited to see what he's going to do, the Phillies starting rotation this year over a 162-game span. I think he's really, really going to have a good season. I really, really do. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I mean, once again, we need to see what he does over a full season. Coming up next, I think it's yet to be determined. As right now, what I'm hearing is Matt Moore will be our number 4. And the thing I like about Matt Moore is he's a lefty, right? He's a lefty. Again, I criticize this signing as a cheap signing, but he is a lefty, and that's one thing I like. He's a lefty. Coming over from Japan, did not play here in 2020, so he got more playing time in Japan because they had a longer season than Major League Baseball. Just played 60 games, but he last played with Detroit. Only appeared in 2 games, but once again, the best days of this guy's career are over. They just are. You go back and look at his 2014 season where he posted a 2.70 ERA, and you go back and look at his 2013 season, which he was very, very good. Also a 3.29 ERA when he went 17-4. So this guy's best days of his career are over. I mean, what is that, like 6-7 years ago? This is a long time ago, ladies and gentlemen. Where he, had some success. I mean, it's been a while. So this is, where I criticized the Phillies for kind of a cheap signing. If you're going to look at his last, I'd say full season, he played 39 games with the Texas Rangers in 2018. We went 3-8 with a 6.79 ERA. So we're supposed to be trusting this guy in our starting rotation. I don't really like Matt Moore, but one thing I do like about him, I feel better that he's a lefty. Because the last time the Phillies started a season with the lefty in the rotation was 2015. So it's been 6 years with Cole Hamels. That just goes to show you how lefty heavy their starting rotation has been. It just goes to show you. So not the biggest fan of Matt Moore. And Chase Anderson, not a guy that's going to eat a lot of innings. He's just not. And you saw that comment he made. He's like, if I wouldn't have had that one bad inning, it would have made my season better. I mean, excuses. I mean, my, oh my. It's just like Chase Anderson, not the biggest fan of that signing. He's not going to eat you a whole lot of innings. In 2020, he was 1-2 with a 7.22 ERA. Career-wise, he's 54-42 with a 4.06 ERA. I mean, this guy, he's not terrible. He's not terrible. He's not great. He's just not great. He's not anything special. I think this is another cheapy signing. In 2019, he was 8-4 with a 4.21 ERA. But this guy's better than Vince Velasquez. He's just better. You know what? I'll take him over Vinny. I'll take Matt Moore and Chase Anderson over Vinny. I will. I really, really will. I mean, I think this is an upgrade over Vinny, but it's not enough of an upgrade, if that makes any sense. It's an upgrade. It's an upgrade, but it's not enough to, make a significant difference. That's just my opinion. It's not. I like him better than Vince Velasquez. Not enough to make a significant difference. It's just not. It's not enough to really improve it and bolster it. So that's pretty much it with the starting rotation. Maybe you see them, have a 6-man rotation. Joe Girardi said yesterday in his press conference, he said that Spencer Howard will compete for the starting rotation in 2021. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does this season. Spring training, because depending on what he does in spring training, then it will depend on what his role will be for the Phillies in 2021. So that's it for the starting rotation, guys. Video about the Phillies bench coming on Saturday. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Please turn on the notification bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Check out the social media link discussion section at Phillies House on Instagram, RFNX, Instagram, card, text 267-225-3392. Email me, phillieshouse@gmail.com. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I am Luke, and I'll talk to y'all later. I'll see you again.